Top five, top five, top five.
So then I'll go back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He's Mr. I Adjust My Chair. I ain't gonna say your last name. It would have fit. But he's Nate. Today we are doing top 5 actresses to go along with our top 5 actresses list. I said that totally when I started over. So then I'll go back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. To coincide with our top 5 favorite actresses, we took 3 off of that list and did separate top 5s for them like we did actors. I up there check out the whole entire list of our favorite actors and actresses and all kinds of acting top 5 stuff. Today we're doing top 5 Emma Stone. Tell them how the list works.
So one of us will start with 5 and 4. The other person will do 5 and 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. Then we'll trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule. So if one of us has the same movie on their list as the other person, but the other person has it 2 spots or higher, that person will call out Zemeckis, and it just means you're going to save the conversation for that film when we get to it on the person who has it higher's list.
My number 5 is going to be Superbad. This was the first film I ever saw of Emma Stone that she was in, and she played the character perfectly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not like too stuck up, but like you could see where Michael Cera would be kind of like scared to talk to her because she has that confidence about her.
You mean Jonah Hill?
No, Michael Cera. I'll start over again.
Stupid.
Not clueless,
Mm-hmm.
but like she's ignorant to the fact that like she's very pretty,
Mm-hmm.
but she also has this confidence about her too. And I think she plays the role perfectly for that movie. And she plays really great off of Jonah Hill because he's trying to get with her,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, and it's the first time I've ever seen her in a movie, so I was very impressed by her. My number 4 is going to be Battle of the Sexes. She could really be a tennis player, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a fan of the movie as a whole. I think it's very, they throw in too many
Right.
convoluted
It's not a great
storylines.
film. It's actually my number 5.
Yeah, it's like, it's probably like a 60 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised. She could really be a tennis player.
Mm-hmm.
She played the lesbian coming out thing.
Yeah.
I think how it would be in the 1970s,
Something like that.
60s. But yeah, the way she plays Dulce Carrell, I love that. That's the reason why it's on my list.
Yeah.
'Cause not only can I believe she would be a tennis player and can be a tennis player,
Mm-hmm.
but how she played off of him and his chauvinistic pig attitude to make money.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Very Andy Kaufman wrestling like.
Yeah, but like without sacrificing, like without selling out.
Yeah.
Like she's still very intent on being taken seriously, as a tennis player, very intent on proving that regardless of what sex you are, you can be great at this sport. Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. Her and Steve Carell, I love both of them in this film. I think it's mostly just a pacing and writing issue.
Yeah,
Definitely. But yeah, I'm with you. I could 100% buy it. And their like rivalry throughout it, like I love the way they interact with each other. It's so great. My number 4 is Zombieland.
not on my list.
I figured it wouldn't be. I know you're not a huge fan of that film.
Well, to me, her character in that movie is very similar to Superbad in ways. You
Sure.
see more of it.
Right. And actually that's why it ended up being on my list instead of Superbad.
I just like Superbad a little bit more.
Yeah. So I feel like you get more of like more confidence out of her in this role. Like I love her in Superbad. She's great, but her character, I don't think bland is the right word, but it's just so like toned down. Like there's not a lot of character development for her and things like that. Whereas in Zombieland, you get more character development, and good character development to hit an audience is sold by good acting.
Yeah.
And she does a great job in this film. And especially when you're sharing it, this was she's still kind of coming out at this point. And like
Battle of the Sexes.
like Eisenberg is kind of too, but I mean, to go in and share a screen with like Woody Harrelson, and, hold your own and be just as like an integral part of this foursome as a newer actress. I know she did a lot of TV stuff before then and done other things, but like this was one of her more breakout roles,
So my number 3 is going to be The Favorite.
Okay.
I
haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's great.
She plays at a beginning, like very like wide-eyed, like deer in headlights type role, and then she gets an understanding of how like the kingdom works
Mhm.
and how to get to the top, and she comes very shyster-esque and a little sadistic, and it's incredible. Like I love that type of role, but you see like the character arc into it, and then you see afterwards like the repercussions, the effects of it. Perfect. I didn't see Emma Stone in this movie.
Nice.
So I don't know the character's name, but I did not see Emma Stone in this movie. Number 2 on my list is Easy A.
It's my number 3.
This movie's just fun, you know? Like, it's intelligent. For a romantic comedy to have this element of intelligence to underline it,
Yeah.
I think is very proper for the film. And it's kind of like represents her as a person, you know? She can be fun and do all this great stuff, but there's always that sense of intelligence in her character.
Right. Yeah.
And I just associate that with her, and this movie proves it the most. You see in Zombieland as well, that like sense of intelligence in the film, and the favorite. But yeah, like if I had to pick one movie that I associate with her the most, it's Easy A, because I feel like that's her as a script.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, there are definitely some of other films, well, obviously, because there's 2 more on here that I have higher than that. But, like, I think that if you pick the quintessential Emma Stone movie, it's probably Easy A. That was my number 3. My number 2 is Birdman.
Not on my list.
What?
I just haven't seen the movie enough.
Oh.
Like, the only thing I remember her doing in the movie is looking up and seeing him
fly away. So, the reason I love this is because this show, like, you know, out of all the rom-coms and like comedy-like things that she's done, her character, she still does a very good job of making all of her characters feel very different, which is phenomenal. And like, I don't think she really gets typecasted. I think those are the movies that she wants to make and things like that. But watching her go from like the generally like sweet, but with that like sarcastic edge side to her that she normally plays, to watching her play this like, you know, tattooed wild child of like a former super movie star is so interesting, and she does great, man. She knocks it out of the park. I mean, she's out there like making out with Edward Norton behind her dad's back, and like, but getting to watch the progression of like her dealing with being the daughter of a famous movie star who like can't come to grips with the fact that he doesn't matter anymore, and the decisions that she makes really ultimately just to try to get his attention. And then watching the reconciliation process that takes place through that film, and throw in the fact that it's a beautiful film in general, her role in it, I feel like, is so important, because like the fact that she's the one in there with him and like watching him fly away at the end and stuff just shows how integral she is to the whole plot of the film. And I think that's my number 2 because it's so different than anything else that she's done. And even though it's way out of what some would consider her wheelhouse, she knocks it out of the park. I'm sure we have the same number 1.
Yeah, it's definitely La La Land, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
This film is... So this is our favorites. Performances of her. So the movie, how invested you are in the film, helps with the performance. And vice versa. But Ryan Gosling's one of our favorite actors. We did his list the other day, Eye in the Corner. There's a lot that this film has going for it other than the performances. So, not discount her performance at all, because it's very good. But that's the reason why it's our number 1, I think. You have her performance being an A+, and everything else in the movie being an A+ as well, is going to put that movie higher.
Sure.
So, that's why it's my number 1. But her performance in this film, just like... her role to me feels more like decision making the whole time, you know, like it's constantly thinking, is this right for me, is this right for us, this... So to have that and to step in that shoe and those shoes was very not traumatic, what's the word I'm thinking of, not surreal either.
6.5 hours later,
it was a new experience for Strange Wang, because I usually only think about myself, so to have that and that mindset, step, because I'm stepping into her mind and how she's thinking in that role, was very shocking to me, and it made me very interested in her character on rewatches. Like, I'm just gonna concentrate on how like every little thing she does, because there's so much to each role in that film.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy her performance in this film. I said the same thing about Gosling when we did his. Asking actors to step out of their comfort zone is a risk. And while she didn't have necessarily the exact same task that Gosling had, because he had to learn how to play the instruments as well, she still had to learn all the dances for this. And those are not just simple, 1-2 step, type dances. Like a real effort and work had to go into that. And when you do that for people who don't have a dance background, which it's my understanding that she didn't, because I've watched the behind the scenes thing plenty of times because I fucking love this movie. But they nail it. And they nail it and still act. So it's not like they have to stop acting to do their dance sequences. They're still conveying all the facial emotion they need to convey. It never feels like that's not those characters. And that takes an immense amount of skill to do. And then her arc, I love that arc in general, going from this nobody who wants desperately to make it but doesn't have the self-motivation to get there, to meeting this guy who's just this big dreamer who's just convinced that you can do anything because that's how much he believes in you, and it giving her that push even though he lets her down, and it's still working out for both of them. This movie is phenomenal. It's so good, and it would not be what it is if they did not put Emma Stone in that role.
Yeah, an instant classic, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's very decisive. It's a very decisive film outside of how much we love it.
You mean divisive?
Oh hell, Ricky, I was high when I said that.
I don't know words, but I know that you should definitely like this video. Comment on the video, share the video, and subscribe.